Game number 1, TY versus Real.
All right, who's going to be the Cata champion? We saw the Kitty Cleave making it through on the top side with the Warrior, so this Hunter here trying to represent the Jungle Cleave on the side of Real with Nerv on that Resto Shaman, Psihoxd on the Marksmanship Hunter, and Whiteshadovv onto the Feral Druid. Kisnou on the Resto Shaman, Scrappy on the Feral Druid, and Swapxy on the Affliction Warlock. You know, I was surprised to not see any balanced Druid Warlock. The Feral Druid version of it, Feral Druid's a little bit more tanky, I'd say. The instant cyclones are really nice, but its overall damage is much lower. And also its ability to kill healing stream totems. I think it's going to be super important in a matchup like this when you have a Warlock against a Shaman, is that you're sniping the healing stream totems as much as possible. Swapxy's going to have to keep an eye on them, use the Fell Flame, and use his pet to try and go behind pillars to snipe those totems and remove them as much as possible. You can see the Hunter just turtling behind the pillar with the flare down in a very defensive position. Now Whiteshadovv is going to move away from the pillar and his team as the Fell Hunter is connected. And it's going to be a bit of a standoff, it looks like, initially here. They don't want the Hunter starting off right on top of them. Scrappy's in a really defensive position. Seems like we're going to have these standoffs in a lot of matchups. I mean, neither team really wants to push in, especially as the Warlock. If you're in the open field for almost any time at all, it's pretty much lights out for you.
Yeah, we'll see what they decide to do. I do like this Fell Hunter just going in and killing off totems, getting off dispels. It seems like it's quite strong here for Swapxy. At least they're getting some stuff going on in the early game. But both these Feral Druids just going to be sitting in stealth, wanting to make sure that they are the one that gets the jump on the other. Really, really important. So we're going to be waiting for the eyes. Likely we'll see Swapxy go pick one up. Then he can send his pet onto Whiteshadovv, try to knock him out of stealth. But it does seem like Swapxy has that central control for the time being, which is kind of what you want when you are looking for these kind of late game eyes as they do come up.
Yeah, Swapxy's baiting. He's just standing there. If they open on him, if he wants to, he's just going to trinket port, and then their opener is gone, and then Scrappy can open on the Feral Druid instead, or the Hunter if he wants to, depending on the positioning there. So that's what they're baiting right now with the Warlock in the middle. They want the Warlock to be the opening target, so they can just use Portal to negate it. And it looks like Psihoxd is finally going to start the fight here, and they are going to start on the Warlock. So is he going to immediately trinket and port? Scrappy intervenes here with a pound stun of his own over onto Whiteshadovv. We see the disengage from Psihoxd as he's trying to get crowd control. Nice blanket silence into Coil to deny the scatter freezing trap from the Hunter. You're not able to shoot traps when you are silenced. That was a really good CC chain from Swapxy. Now they got Sunlocks coming through onto Psihoxd. Swapxy's looking to load out dots as soon as possible. It's really important that he gets as many unstable afflictions as possible to cover the dispel of his other dots. He's going to port back behind the pillar during the freezing trap, but the Hibernate connects as well. Triple crowd control. That actually forces Kisnou to trinket. Finally, Swapxy getting some unstable afflictions out. He's probably going to soul swap that very soon. Are they going to go after the Shaman? They've got decent raw pressure against 3 targets. They need to make sure they get dots on the Shaman, but a full clone, no trinket. Is he going to go down? Clone on the Feral Druid, stun onto the Hunter, peeling them off with Swapxy, but he's silenced up. He's going to have to life tap soon. He's almost out of mana, but Kisnou manages to recover him. Nice Howl of Terror onto both DPS during that critical moment in time. Now Swapxy's got to pick his moment. When is he going to go for that life tap? He's running really low on mana.
Yeah, Swapxy doing a really good job so far on that Warlock, getting control of the match. Whiteshadovv is going to be forced to pull back behind the pillar. If you look at mana, Nerv is way behind. Here comes the Tranquility from Whiteshadovv. Try to stabilize his team. Scrappy's going to try to deny that a little bit and keep up the pressure on that Feral Druid. Just not overextending. Doesn't want to get stunned behind the pillar, but just poking and prodding, trying to get some damage, allowing Swapxy to get those damage over time effects on that Warlock up. Once again, Kisnou moving forward, or now being targeted here by Whiteshadovv. Do they have a stun to do a trap? Spelllock does come in into a fear. Whiteshadovv is just getting controlled so much in this match. This is going really good for the side of TY.
Yeah, I think he used that blanket silence on the Feral Druid to stop the Predatory Swiftness clone. So Swapxy's like predicting these CC chains and deny him. Big swap onto Nerv. Is he going to lose his here in this position? He's down at half. He switches the Earth Shield over, and it looks like Scrappy's just going to switch off that Earth Shield, get into bear form for a moment as he's being targeted down by the Hunter and the Feral. But they have nice pressure. They got a huge mana advantage in this position. Nerv is really struggling. He's going to stone form off that Rip Bleed, but Scrappy is still moving in and absolutely tearing them apart. Spirit Link Totem is going to be completely useless in a second from now. Nerv is just dying to dots. He's rotting away. He's trying to recover. He gets spell locked by Swapxy. He's got a full row of dots about to fall. Can he Fell Flame it? He can't get in line of sight. Nerv is still just dying to a corruption tick at this point. He might just die by the pillars. Dots finally removed, and he manages to save himself. Scrappy at 10% in a clone at low health. Kisnou struggling to heal him back up as he's finally free and looking to reconnect, but Whiteshadovv is almost dead. He's in bear form. He's got survival instincts. He trades it out so greedily at this low of health as he's ducking around the corner with frenzied regen. Now back into cat form, trying to create counter pressure, but they've got all of their trinkets. They got Spirit Link. They can just push in Trinket Spirit Link and close this game out, I think, at this point.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit deadly. Whiteshadovv is just going to continue to make the push, though. They're going after They're chasing Nerv behind the pillar, just allowing him to drink for just a moment here. Scrappy in hot pursuit as all three members of TY, they want to close out this game. They realize they have them on the ropes. Pressure is immense for their side, but Scrappy at the same time needs to be careful. Went down to about 10% HP earlier on in the match, so they do still have pressure on the Feral Druid, but this is just not looking good. They're just so far on the back foot. It's really difficult for them to get any kind of offense. There's the full stun. Whiteshadovv could easily fall. Nerv connects a little bit of healing, but now you can see he's got 0 mana in the tank, and this is where the pressure from the Affliction Warlock is going to be completely overwhelming.
The stampeding roars his whole team to get across the map and away from the Warlock. The dots have fallen off. They're trying to clutch out a couple of heals. They got to be careful of that Fell Hunter that's going to be on top of them at any moment. Scrappy's right there for the interrupt as well. Nerv is totally out of mana. Whiteshadovv trinkets out of clone. He wants to get aggressive and try and turn this around. He goes for a maim stun, but it looks like it was on DR there, not a full combo point. Charge there. Scatter shot onto the Shaman. Can they get a freezing trap out of it? Doesn't look like they're able to get it. Scrappy should be okay. And now Nerv is in trouble. It's so much damage coming his way. He drops his Spirit Link Totem and manages to get value. Here comes the rapid fire. Psihoxd. Is he going to be able to take down Scrappy? He pops his Survival Instincts. It's constantly back and forth. If Nerv can somehow hold on once again, he stone forms out the bleeds, but he gets cloned up. Now his DPS are getting low, but Kisnou's into a clone. They're trying to keep up the pressure, but Scrappy's in bear with Barkskin, and Whiteshadovv might just die to a dot tick at this point. Nerv has almost absolutely 0 mana at this point. That mastery for Shaman is paying dividends, but he gets spell locked. And will he be able to hold on, man? This is going to be a legendary recovery for Nerv at this point. The entire team at 10% health, ducking around the corner. Full Hex gets decursed by Whiteshadovv, but Psihoxd gets left behind. Clone comes through from Scrappy, and that should be lights out as Psihoxd falls, and shortly after Whiteshadovv, TY with solid pressure in game 1. I think more teams need to be switching off Earthshield. And kind of predicting where that is and dictating their initial target based on where the Earthshield is, and then putting their instant CC into the Earthshield to target hitting something else. But Swapxy's immediately taken to the boxes, trying to get that portal down. They intercept him with a pound stun. Scrappy jumps in immediately to try and assist, but Whiteshadow's taking a lot of damage. Swapxy gets back behind the pillar. He's in a good position. Halter hits 2, but they Tremor Totem it immediately. Silence onto Swapxy. He jumps off the side. He's getting ready to portal back up, but the Feral Druid chases him, but he can use Feral Charge to get back up, so he's got to be careful with the positioning on when he uses this portal and where the Feral Druid is. So he's hugging the wall, so if he ports, the Feral may not directly be in line of sight. I really like that right there. He ports right against the wall, and he eats the freezing trap. Crazy play from Swapxy right here to deny the reconnect, but Whiteshadovv gets there with the Feral Charge, gets a Skull Bash on the healer. It's really tearing in, getting full bleeds up. Psihoxd is free casting steady shots off to the side, getting in position as well for crowd control. Full Cyclone. Are they going to force the trinket? But Whiteshadovv gets pounced by Scrappy. Tons of damage coming out from him. They hex Swapxy for a moment, but it's not going to really do too much here. They get a Monkey Blind on Kisnou, but the Cyclone comes through to deny this trap. They get a Scatter. They silence the Scatter, so he can't get the freezing trap. Insane play from Swapxy here in this position. Now he's going to have to do that same idea with hugging the pillars so that the Feral can't immediately Feral Charge here. Another freezing trap attempt comes through, and this one lands out of the bash onto Kisnou, and Swapxy ports immediately, line of sighting the Feral Druid. Dots are not on the Feral, though. He jumps up to the Shaman instead to reconnect to the Warlock. Nice awareness from Whiteshadovv, but they need to get dots on him. They got an Agony. They're trying to get an Unstable Affliction, but it's so difficult with the pillar, just line of sighting him over and over. They silence the Unstable Affliction. They're really locking Swapxy down. If you stop all the Unstable Afflictions, your Shaman can just spam Dispel, and it's very easy to heal. So that's what they're trying to do their best to do, but now he's free casting. He gets 1 UA, I think, onto the Hunter. Big damage onto Psihoxd around the corner. Nerv is struggling. He's afraid of getting spell locked right now. He's just trying to use Riptides, get in line of sight. Whiteshadow's moving over. They might be going after Kisnou.
Oh, full dot on Nerv.
Big swap.
Trouble.
He's easily going to go down here. I think Silence has got Spirit Link Totem, but the whole team is dying. Howl of Terror hits the whole team again. He drops the Tremor Totem and manages to get back to the pillar, but he gets coiled off of it. That coil pathing into a Feral Root Charge from Scrappy, and he is tearing in. Nerv manages to hold on with the Spirit Link Totem. Crazy swap onto the Shaman. Amazing recovery by Nerv, and they have no pressure on the side of Real.
Yeah, this is not looking good. Nerv could easily fall at any moment. Swapxy's all over him. He's got the spell lock available if he does need it. Nerv trying to run. It looks like he just spilled for the UA. Haunt, drain soul onto Nerv, but looks like he will get away. The blanket silence coming in from Swapxy is not enough to take it down. He just goes for the UA dispel as well. And somehow, some way, Real is still in this, but a full Cyclone lands. Now it's going to be Psihoxd and Whiteshadovv that are both rotting down. This Hunter could be in a lot of trouble. There's no deterrence. He goes for the feigned death, but that is it. He goes down. All right, here we go. 14 seconds left, and we're getting into this third and potentially final game of this series. TY leading 2-0 over Real. I think both of us want to see Real play this one a little bit more aggressive. Like, if you're playing a conservative strategy against Feral Affliction Warlock in particular, it doesn't seem like it's really going to be working out too well for you. So we need to see them kind of risk it, play aggressive in the match, try to get their crowd control out, and really try to rush someone down.
All right, Earthshield on the Warlock. Pounce on the Shaman. I like this. They're going after the target that doesn't have Earthshield, but Scrappy is there. He's peeling with the Pounce. Silence comes through. They need to get an instant clone as soon as possible from Scrappy, but he gets freezing trapped, and they are just training the blue here as Kisnou has smartly switched his Earthshield, but he's still just dying through it anyway. Spiritling Totem has to come down, and the pressure is looking way better for Real, targeting down the Shaman here as they force his major cooldown immediately. Now he's caught into another stun, still being pressured. If he gets kicked on any of these casts, it could be lights out. Silencing shot. They cycle in the Feral. They force Scrappy's Trinket. They're trying to get their feet on the ground and planted to get pressure back against the jungle Cleave, but they're getting CC'd so much. Freezing trap on Scrappy now. No dispels from Kisnou. He's trying to move into the middle of the map so that the Warlock and Feral can free cast as much as possible, but that also means the Hunter is going to be able to hit him whenever he wants to here in this position. He's putting a lot of faith in Swapxy and Scrappy to save him as he's trying to cross the map in the midfield at the moment. Howl of Terror is peeling him for the time being, and he's managed to reposition. I think he may have weathered the storm. The team looks so good, and White Shadow is just dying through survival instincts with that silence onto Nerv into a full Cyclone. Oh my god, how is he not trinketing this? How is he not trinketing? He's so greedy with the trinket right now. Shamans and Cataclysm are so greedy with their mastery. He survives to sit through the clone, but he still has a lot of work to fully recover.
Yeah, definitely a really scary position to be in, going for the greater heal, but I think Swapsy's going to be looking to shut that down if he can find a fear. Greater healing wave will land, but Kisnou still in trouble, goes for the Nature Swiftness, just trying to reposition across the map. He just wants to get the enemy team into the open to allow Swapsy to get those damage over time effects rolling. Howl of Terror potentially coming in here for Swapsy. Is it almost off cooldown? Needs to find those peels. Kisnou's in a lot of trouble. Fear's coming in here from Swapsy, doing the best he can. Finally, a full Cyclone lands onto White Shadows, and that's going to give Kisnou a little bit of time to breathe. Dots coming out for Swapsy. Full Fear here on Sio. Can they get anything onto Nerv? They need to find some crowd control. He's still got his Trinket, a beautiful coil, putting White Shadows behind the pillar. Great setup there by Swapsy, but I think he's going to be able to survive.
I love the coil into Feral Bearform Root onto the Feral Druid behind the pillar. They're really putting him behind now. They need to get a UA out as soon as possible onto the Feral. He's Howl of Terror with no UA. That could get dispelled. He's not getting lucky right now. Nerv is just mana tiding behind the pillar, trying to get any amount of mana back that he can, because he's got actually a slight mana lead at this point. If they can stay on target, there's no trinket. They could win in the next stun. They're CCing up the Feral Druid. Here comes the Monkey Blind. Can they finally finish Kisnou and put a point on the board? They need more CC. Kisnou's taking so much damage. They silence Scrappy so he can't clone. They stun the Healing Surge. Swapsy's trying to peel. He gets Windshielded on the Fear. Nice shutdown. They trap the Feral. They're going for the win. Can they finish him? They need more damage right now. They have to win on this push. Can they take him out? Greater Healing Wave comes in, and Kisnou tops himself off in the face of death. Now White Shadow is falling behind. Kisnou's trying to cross the map so that he can get to the other pillar and maybe even possibly get away from a drink, but they're still just right on top of him. White Shadow in bear form for a moment. Now back into Cat, trying to stay on target. Mangle spam. He's got full bleeds up onto the Shaman. It is so much damage. He has to switch to Water Shield. He's trying not to switch to Water Shield and be greedy and just live with passive healing, but that's all he's got is Earth Shield healing at this point.
Yeah, he's taking some big bites as well. Fear comes in the nick of time from Swapsy. White Shadow's trying to reconnect. He trinkets. Kisnou could easily fall. The full stun lands.
9 seconds.
The damage to put him down. 9 seconds left on that Spiritling Totem. He just has to hold on a little bit longer. It looks like he will. Just looking like an unkillable wall here in this game. And now Psihoxd is at 10% health behind the pillar. Nerv is completely out of mana. TY is looking like they might just win this game. Spiritling Totem drops down. Kisnou has his available if he needs it, and I think TY have done it. They've weathered the storm. They have all 3 members rotting down. This is looking good for them.
Yeah, bleeds are out. No survival instincts for 20 seconds here. Kisnou into a pounce. He's got Trinket Link. He's got mana to do it, but Scrappy's in a clone. White Shadow could just die to Swapxy. Nerv is trying to drink. Frenzied Regen. It's such low health. Howl of Terror behind the pillar. Swapxy setting up for the kill. Haunt into drain life here in a moment. Maybe even drain soul if he gets a little bit lower. Soul swapping the full row of dots over. Fell Flame refreshing. He's right on top of White Shadow with that Shadow Flame trying to snare him, trying to prevent his escape. Nerv's into a full clone. No trinket. I think that's it. It's KO TY 3-0.